I've always been a skeptic, the kind of person who laughs at ghost stories and rolls their eyes at tales of the supernatural. I believed in what I could see, what I could touch, what could be explained by logic and science. But that all changed one night. The night they found me. It's a memory that plays over and over in my mind, a film reel I can't shut off, and it always begins the same way. It started like any other evening. I was driving home late from a work event, feeling the familiar exhaustion of a long day settle into my bones. To save some time, I decided to take a shortcut, a decision I now regret every single day. It was an old winding road that cut through a dense forest, a route most people avoided after dark. I'd driven it a few times during the day, but at night, it was a completely different world. The towering trees on either side seemed to lean in, their branches like skeletal fingers clawing at the sky. The air felt heavy, unnaturally still. It's hard to describe, but it was like the very atmosphere had thickened, pressing in on the car. I remember rolling down the window for a moment, expecting to hear the usual chorus of crickets and frogs, the sounds of a forest alive. But there was nothing, an absolute, deafening silence. Even the familiar hum of my engines seemed muffled, swallowed by the quiet. That's when my headlights flickered once, then twice, before settling back to a steady beam. And in that brief flash of darkness, I saw it. Movement on the side of the road. At first, I thought it was a deer, maybe a large dog. It was low to the ground, a dark shape hunched over in the tall grass. I slowed the car down, cautious, but then it stood up. It didn't get up like an animal or a person. It unfolded, its limbs extending in a way that was fundamentally wrong. The figure was tall, impossibly tall. Its arms and legs stretched to unnatural length, like a drawing that had been distorted. Its head seemed too small for its long, spindly body, and it was cloaked in shadows, impossible to make out any features. But I didn't need to see its face to know it was watching me. I could feel its gaze, a cold, piercing pressure in my mind. My heart started to pound against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat, and the suffocating silence. I told myself it was just my tired mind playing tricks on me. A shadow, a strange-looking tree, anything but what it appeared to be. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white, and tried to focus on the road ahead. That's when I saw another one, standing just beyond the tree line on the other side of the road. And then another, and another. They weren't moving. They just stood there, between the trees, their slender forms like burnt sentinels guarding a forgotten path. They were surrounding the road ahead, creating a macabre tunnel of silent observers. As my headlights swept across them, I caught a glimpse of their eyes. They weren't bright or menacing, but glowed with a faint, dying light, like the last embers in a fire. The sight froze me to my core. This wasn't a trick of the light, tease was real. Just as that terrifying realization hit me, my car engine sputtered and died. The dashboard lights went out. The world plunged into an even deeper silence. Panic, raw and primal, clawed its way up my throat. I turned the key again and again, begging the car to start. The engine just clicked uselessly. I was trapped, stranded in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by these things. The silence outside was crushing, absolute. It felt as if the entire world had stopped breathing, waiting. And then the whispers began. They weren't coming from one direction. They were everywhere, all at once. Inside the car, outside the car, inside my own head. Countless voices overlapping, murmuring in a language I couldn't understand, but the intent was unmistakable. The sound was sibilant and dry, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. It was a chilling symphony of malice, and through that chorus of unintelligible sounds, I heard something that made my blood run cold. My name. It was twisted and stretched, distorted beyond recognition, but it was my name. They knew who I was. Suddenly, the windows of the car fogged up, all at once, as if a sudden freezing mist had descended, and then handprints began to appear on the glass. From the outside, they weren't normal handprints. The fingers were too long, too thin. They pressed against the driver's side window, then the passengers, then the windshield. More and more appeared, pressing harder and harder, the glass groaning under the pressure. It felt like they were trying to crush the car, to break in and get to me. One of the entities moved. It glided from the tree line towards my car, not walking, but flowing over the ground like smoke. It stopped right beside my window, its form so close I could have reached out and touched it. In the dim, ambient light, I finally saw its face, and the sight is seared into my memory forever, Noise. Just two deep, black, empty sockets that seemed to absorb all light. Its mouth, a thin slit, slowly began to open, wider and wider, far wider than any human jaw could possibly stretch, revealing a dark, cavernous void inside. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My throat was tight, constricted. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It felt like all the air was being pulled out of my lungs, creating a vacuum in my chest. This was it. This was how I was going to die. Alone, on a forgotten road, at the hands of something that shouldn't exist. I closed my eyes, bracing for the shattering of glass, for the end. And then, as suddenly as it had died, the engine roared back to life. The headlights blazed on, brighter than before, flooding the scene with light. The entities outside let out a shriek. It wasn't a sound made by lungs or a voice box. It was a high-pitched, razor-sharp frequency that felt like knives stabbing into my eardrums, into my brain. Without a second thought, I slammed my foot on the accelerator. The tires screeched on the asphalt as the car shot forward. I didn't dare look back, not at first. My eyes were fixed on the road ahead, my body trembling uncontrollably. But morbid curiosity, or maybe just sheer terror, made me glance at the rearview mirror. What I saw was almost more terrifying than the attack itself. They weren't chasing me. They were all standing perfectly still on the road, watching me leave. Their glowing eyes tracked my car until it rounded a bend. They just stood there, as if they knew this wasn't over, as if this was all part of their plan. I drove like a madman all the way home, not slowing down until my car was safely in the garage. I ran inside, locked every door, and turned on every light in the house. I survived that night, but I didn't escape. Something followed me home. Even now, months later, I'm not alone. When the house is quiet and the lights are out, I hear them, faint whispers, just on the edge of hearing, echoing the sounds from that night. I see shadows moving in my peripheral vision, long, thin shapes that disappear the moment I turn to look. Sometimes, I wake up in the middle of the night to find my bedroom window fogged over, with a single, long-fingered handprint on the glass. I've come to understand a terrifying truth. They didn't fail to kill me that night. They let me go. They wanted me to run. They wanted me to live in fear. Whatever I saw on that road is still out there, and a part of it is with me. Always. They're just waiting. And I don't know what for. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever experienced something you can't explain, let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear more strange tales, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Stay safe out there.